part of this business is learning how to best convert business into, or prospects into business, right? But not all aspects of the prospecting and sales process are equal. There are some parts of your presentation, likewise, some parts of your just sales process overall, that are more important to practice, develop, and get better at than others. And what really matters more than anything as a face-to-face agent is this: your ability to get in the door, your skill set and how well you develop that is arguably exponentially more important than your presenting skills. So I repeat, your ability to display yourself in a confident manner, to overcome objections at the door or on the phone, is more important than how well you go through your presentation. It's not to say that your presentation isn't important, but think about it like this. You may be Tony Robbins, you may be Mr. Charismatic, but if you can't get in the door to even deliver a presentation, how much does your great presentation matter, right? So the most important thing every new final expense face-to-face agent needs to focus on is being and getting good, getting great at door knocking, at overcoming objections at the door to get into the house to present. It's also getting good at setting appointments by phone to see the prospect at a later time or day. Getting good at those two skill sets really magnifies your capability to be successful when you're in the home. My dad used to own a business called Duchem in the chemical business. He sold out to Ecolab. And when I started my business, personal training, many years ago, 15, 20 years ago, before I got to final expense, I asked Dad, I said, so what's like the number one piece of advice you would give like a salesperson in order to, like, if you think about how to develop themselves to get the most success? He said, Dave, half the battle, more than half the battle, is won by getting in the door. He, in other words, would teach his sales reps, and this is a guy who sold his business out at a young age of 49. He would teach his sales reps that it's just getting in an audience with, in this case, the the production manager or the plant manager, getting in the door. If he could just do that, that's where the magic happens, is just seeing people. And that's how he was as successful as he was, starting with just himself and moving on to, I think, several hundred employees at one point in the future. So more of the story is, as we think about being good at final expense, it's not just a presentation you should be focusing on. You should also focus on prospecting, appointment setting, and door knocking, or your door knocking presentation, and getting really good at that. If you were to join DeFord Insurance Group, a lot of our time in that first week that we do one-on-one mentorship and role playing is focused on the door knock. It's focused on the appointment setting call and getting really, really, really good at those, because we know as people running our organization, that's how we're going to get paid, if we can just get you in front of more people at the kitchen table. But here's the thing. It's not just a mannerism. It's kind of a belief system. It's a way in which that you speak to the client. The best piece of advice that I could give you all is, as you go through the process of presenting and you're in the door or at the door or on the phone with your client, you need to say things in such a way that you are presumptive. This is probably a piece of advice I wish I would have taken years ago as a new agent, and then even as an experienced agent, is acting as if the deal was going to close no matter what. And then more importantly, reflecting that belief, acting as if, in everything that I said. There's something powerful about being presumptive. So I'll give you an example. When we set an appointment, we don't ask permission of the client. Hey, can I come over tomorrow at 2 o'clock? Because there's an option to say no. In some sense, it sounds like you're not confident when you ask for that. So instead of asking a yes/no question, we teach our agents to ask yes/yes questions. So I'm going to be over tomorrow at 10 o'clock, or does 2 sound better? There's a sense of confidence in that, because now that the way that that question is phrased by design is more confident, because I'm giving them a choice of a yes or a yes. I'm not assuming that no is an option, right? And that little thought process you can find throughout the presentation. There are things that we want to suggest, like when you take out this new policy, you're going to have peace of mind knowing that your loved ones are protected. Notice I didn't say if you took out this policy, when you take out this policy with me. And these are things that you can pepper throughout your presentation, where it's already happening in front of you through your demeanor and representation of what you're presenting, that the policy is already consummated. It's already there. And even before you close and assume the close, you've already assumed that they're buying it. And what happens is when clients listen to that, is that they see themselves owning it. They already kind of see themselves in that position. They're more and becoming more accepting of the eventual reality that they're going to buy from you when you use an assumptive, confident style language. The turnoff for me, and why I didn't do this for a long time, is that I sounded kind of, I always felt like arrogant. That was kind of my concern. I never wanted to sound arrogant or pushy. That was for years, kind of my perspective with this language pattern. But I realized in listening to agents' calls for many years and having conversations with other salespeople in the business, that it actually doesn't sound arrogant. It sounds confident. And if you don't sound confident, then what your clients may take you as is being unconfident or unsure about yourself. And they don't understand that you're just trying to be polite. They may be taking it as, hey, this guy isn't convicted in what it is that you're selling. And so they may lose faith in what it is that you're trying to do. I've had salespeople over here that have sold other products like glass windows, et cetera. And they ask for forgiveness in a certain way about being a salesperson. They almost sound as if they're not convinced, that they're okay to sound like, that they're not confident. And it shows. And it makes me think, do I want to do business with this person? So there's this, it's an interesting dynamic, but what you want to do as you start getting into the business is observing how and what your language patterns actually are. Are they confident language patterns, or are they language patterns that cause doubt? And you may be trying to be polite, but it's seen by the prospect as being unsure. And people don't want to buy from people who aren't convicted, right? So you have to act as if.